Welcome to this session of Zen Golf question and answer. I would like to unmute everyone, let you unmute yourselves, and then we can start if you have any questions. If not, I have a little bit of what came up in a recent lesson that I did that I can share with you. Shall I do that first?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So this came up in a lesson. I was working with somebody and they said, okay, so I'm on the golf course and sometimes thoughts about stuff from off the golf course, my work, my relationship, what I'm supposed to do after the round, what I forgot to do before the round that I have to remember to get taken care of. I said, well, here's what you do. And I've given this to professionals that has really helped them. I remember I was with Paul Azinger at the PGA Championship at Whistling Straits up in Wisconsin. And there was a hurricane that was coming into Florida and his boat was down there and he couldn't get down there. And he said, what do I do? I'm thinking about my boat the whole time. And I said, well, here's what I want you to do. Find a little container like a food storage container. This is a glass one. You can have a plastic one. Even something like a little jewelry box, something like that. And you keep it in your car, or if you're at a club and you have a locker, in your locker. And what you do is there's 3 steps to what you do. You take your thoughts and you say, okay, thoughts about everything other than golf, get in here. And number 1, I need you to stay in here because you're not going to help me play golf any better. I won't be able to do anything about you when I'm on the golf course. And this is the very important one. I promise I'll come back and pick you up right after the round. And I will address all your issues right after the round. But you stay here and wait for me because you won't help me play golf any better and I can't do anything about you while you're out there. And then you put the top on and you put your box in the locker of the car. So then you go and play. And if the thought appears, you go, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? You're supposed to be in the locker or in the box. Get back in the box. Okay, and you picture your box back there and you go, get back in the box. I promise I'll come back to get you because I can't do anything about you while I'm here on the golf course and you're not helping me play golf any better. I promise I'll come back to get you when the round's over. Go back there. And the thought's clear, at least for a little bit. And each time it comes back, you just do the same thing and send it back. Now, it's really important. When you finish your round,
I want to go back and get.
Yes, you have to go back to your locker. You have to go back to your locker, open the box, and say, "Okay, let's deal with this. I got you, and I'm gonna deal with this." So I just wanted to share that. I thought that was fun, something fun to do. Okay. Any questions that have come up in your round or your golf? Oh, I wanted Barbara to share what she shared earlier. Not everybody was here.
Oh, well, actually, I just need to say, don't play golf at the level the rest of you do, but I really enjoy it and I want to play better. So that's why I'm starting to listen to this. But I found I was on the golf course yesterday and feeling a little tense about something. And I go, what do I hear? I just stopped for a minute. Just listen. And I could hear birds. I could hear someone talking way far away. I heard like a lawnmower, and I go, okay, all right, here's where I am right now. And I just felt this calming sensation. And I had one of the better rounds I've had in a while. So it was really, I think this is really starting to help me in a lot of ways in my life. So thank you.
Great.
Yes.
Well, I've probably got something a bit similar to that.
Okay.
on Monday, we had our very first league match. The last league match I played was July 19, I think. So I was a little bit nervous. I had to give my lady 12 shots.
Ooh. Ouch.
And we had 40-mile-an-hour winds. So it wasn't easy. And I just went for it. I was 4 up at one point, and then she crept back, and then I felt that sort of fear, you know, like, oh, it's running away from me. At the turn, I was 2 up, and then I wasn't putting well. Yeah, I mean, I beat her. I beat her on the 17th. I beat her 2 and 1, but I started to think about my breath, and I slowed myself down. I remembered a lot of the things that you said, Dr. Joe. But is there something that you could, a little tip, a little golden nugget to sort of erase that fear as it comes up? I thought about you while I was playing.
That will help.
What would Dr. Joe do?
I don't think we have a WWDJD on bracelet. We're not going to do that. But a couple of things that were really good. One is that you remembered to go back to the breathing and walking more slowly. And Tom Watson said that you know, he would get uptight, and he blew a lot of major championships, particularly US Opens, with that thing, fear coming up, just the same thing. And he said, when I learned to walk more slowly and breathe, that's when I started winning. So what you need to notice, particularly what you need to notice, as the round goes on, around 2/3 of the way through, at the Masters, they call that Amen Corner, 11, 12, and 13. So you can mark something down on your scorecard you can either put it on, maybe on 10 or somewhere between 10 and 12, and just say, keep Amen Corner in mind. What happens right then is we make a shift. And the shift that we make is from how well can I play to how many mistakes can I avoid? How do I keep from making mistakes, basically? So there's a shift. And when we think, how well can I play? Then we pick positive targets. We have positive feels in our swing. And we do our best to trust and commit to the shots. And then, and early in the round, even if we make a mistake, we go, well, I have a lot of holes to make up for. And that's why we play a little more freely. And that's why you took the lead there. But then as you're running out of holes, then you see, oh, I'm on 12. I only have 6 holes to go. You can see the finish line out there, but it's a little early for the adrenaline to kick in. And it's right at the point of the round we get a little tired. If we haven't drunk enough water or haven't eaten enough, our nutrition. So it's like a perfect storm right there around the group of holes around number 12, that group of holes that are around there. And what happens is then we get tentative, we get guidey, and we don't make the same trust in our swing. And then we start making mistakes, and then the fear really comes up. Oh no, now what am I going to do? And then we start choking and getting, choking just means we got too tight. And we try to focus on not blowing it. I got a 4-shot lead. How embarrassed I'll be, 4-hole lead in the match. How embarrassed I'll be if I blow that. And so that's the fear. It's a fear of embarrassment as well. So instead, recognize that and say, okay, I have a game plan. And this is the game plan that can keep you from doing that. And that is a game plan that has nothing to do with your score, with your score against par if you're playing stroke play, with your score against your opponent if you're playing match play. It's all to do with how can I get the most out of my game on this hole without taking an unnecessary risk. Now, for lower handicappers, I say, what's going to give me the best chance for birdie without taking an unnecessary risk? But for any handicap, you can think, what's going to give me the best chance for net birdie without taking an unnecessary risk? But basically, how can I play the best I can play? Not avoid mistakes, but the best I can play without doing something crazy and taking an unnecessary risk. So we give ourselves a lot of room to play in the fairway and say, I got this. Yeah. And just make the swing we were making all day long. It's going to come down someplace I can work with, and then go ahead and go on. But the walking and the breathing is integral to that, because as fear comes in, we get uptight, and then we feel even more fear because we feel uptight. So we have to undo that by starting with a breath and say, whoa, this is a golf match. This is not the end of the world. People say, oh yeah, you know, I made a triple bogey. It was a disaster. And I say, no, I'm sorry. A triple bogey is a triple bogey. A tsunami, an earthquake, the COVID pandemic, these are disasters, okay? A triple bogey is not a disaster. It's just a bad score on a hole, you know, too bad. Okay, get over it. And so you can say those kinds of things to yourself as well.
Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you. I did remember the amen corner. In fact, every time I play, I say to whoever I'm playing with, oh, amen corner coming up. They think I'm mad.
Good for you. Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
But
anyway,
it's true.
Yes. Oh, that's great. Thank you.
But there's method to your madness.
Yes, there is. There is. Yeah, I played in my first medal today as well, and I came in with a net 69, so I was quite pleased with myself there.
Very nice.
See, so someone can ask you, what did you shoot? And you said, oh, 3 under.
Yes.
Yes. You must be good. Yes, well, you know, I don't like to toot my own horn, but I played well.
Yeah.
You know, you're British, so, you know, you got to not be too, you have to be somewhat, oh, yes, well, it was okay.
Modest.
All right. It was okay.
It was great.
It was great. And I was that far from getting a hole in one on a par 3.
Congratulations.
Oh, wow.
I did give a whoop whoop at that.
Well, one does what one can.
Yes.
Let's have a whoop whoop for Jenny. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Doc, this isn't to get a whoop whoop, but Jenny's observation of all the good things that happened today reminded me of this. Last Wednesday, I was playing by myself, and it was a par 4. And for the first time in my life, I eagled on a par 4. I've never done that.
Woo-hoo.
And I was very excited, but I'm by myself, and I thought, I wonder what Dr. Joe, kind of like, what would Dr. Joe do? Say that I should do to kind of commemorate this moment. And I thought, even though you're by yourself, you kind of got to celebrate this.
Yeah,
put it in the memory box.
Up and down.
You know, I took a picture of the ball in the hole.
Yeah.
Kind of smiled and kind of gave myself a high five.
yeah.
And stuff. I thought, you need to.
You can get your phone out and photograph the ball in the hole. I mean, nobody will know, but you know.
Well, that's what I did, but I thought you need to kind of anchor this emotionally.
You do. Yeah, I agree.
Well, here's the key. What you anchor it to is what you did to prepare for that shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you say, "Oh my gosh, that shot! I was completely out of my own way."
I really was.
Yep.
I was, and my intention was to make a free swing and not be what do you want to say?
Concerned about results.
Exactly.
Yep. And so that's what you anchor it on, and say, oh, when I do that, that's the kind of shot I'm always going to hit.
Okay.
You know, that is the way that you anchor it. And what you reminded me of was the old Coca-Cola commercial where the kid's out playing in the early morning, and this little kid, and he gets a hole in one.
Yeah.
He goes, oh no, he's looking around and nobody saw it.
And the greenskeeper did.
Yeah, the maintenance guy, right.
Yes.
Yeah. It's so cool.
And then he buys him a Coke, you know.
Yes.
Things go better with Coke.
Yeah, that's right. So,
Holes in one go better with Coke.
yeah, so this isn't supposed to be a Coke commercial, but they made a good one, you know, so you got to give them the props. So that's good.
Yeah.
I remember I did one of those. It was at Baltusrol, playing with a high school, a grade school friend of mine that we'd reconnected around golf. And he's a very good golfer. He's plus handicap. And I remembered I was working on something in which I was saying I was talking to my body. I was saying, as I set up to the ball, I just said the words to myself, take over. And it was like my mind was just saying, I'm done. I'm done thinking. I'm done with any of it. Said to my body, just take over. And it was like I was watching myself swing. And I hit the shot. It was a 5-iron. It went right at the green and it went in the hole.
Wow.
About 175 yards out.
Wow.
And I had my arms, I was going, oh my God. And he said, chill, man, put easy on the celebration. I said, no, you don't understand. I'm not celebrating that I got it in the hole. I'm celebrating what I did that got it in the hole, I didn't do it. I turned it over. I let my body did it, but I didn't do it. And that was really, really exciting to,
That's an out of body experience then.
But I intentionally created it that way and said, it was not so much out of body as I went to the back. I just sat in the back seat. I let go of the steering wheel.
Okay.
I wasn't driving anymore.
No.
So I said, I'm a passenger. I'm along for the ride. And boom. So that's something interesting to try. You can experiment with that and just, you have to really believe it, and say, take over. I'm curious. I wonder how my body's going to swing this club. Oh, not bad. You might be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, your ego can, it's like, hey, you're not really going to help here. So.
Exactly. Let's go to the back seat. Let's let the body do this one. Isn't that fun? Isn't that interesting? Any other stories? Any other fun stories or questions?
That just reminds me of that story you told before about start a new plan, Stan.
Yes. Get off the bus, Gus.
Get off the bus, Gus. That's the one. Yes.
Paul Simon song.
That's right.
It.
That's right.
Paul Simon wrote that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mike, you had a question?
Okay. Yeah, no, this is not a question. I'm going to test Dr. Joe just a little bit here. I'm going to give you a little riddle and see if you can figure this one out. Okay, so there's an LPGA player whose swing I really admire and her approach to the game that I really admire. I'm curious to know if you've ever worked with her or if you can give us some insight on sort of what makes her tick. And I'm going to give you a little brief description here and see if you can figure out who it is. Now I won't describe her technical swing to you because that would probably give it away. But her swing is unconventional, and I would describe it as full of patience and dignity. And she's been playing really well lately. So she's been getting a lot of camera time on television, or as they say in the business, face time. And I happened to notice her face last week during a tournament, and I looked at her face and I noticed the serenity in her face. And coupled with her swing, I thought to myself, if the Buddha were playing LPGA golf, this is what that would look like. Any guesses as to who that? It's a major champion, one of the greats. Unconventional swing.
The first thing I thought of was Inbee Park.
That's it. Nice job.
Ooh.
It's Inbee Park, exactly.
So yeah, I've never worked with her, but one of the hallmarks is you can't tell whether she's playing well or poorly from her demeanor.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just goes
Yeah.
right on, and how well she plays often has to do with how well she scores. Often has to do with her putting. When it's on, she's pretty unstoppable.
It's her full swing that intrigues me. You know, it's different.
Because it looks like it's in slow motion.
Yes, a little bit like the way they used to describe Ernie Els' swing used to be a little bit in slow motion. She has a slow motion backswing, and it looks to me like an early wrist cock, and then maybe not even a full backswing. I've never seen her driver get parallel with the ground, and then she comes through it so smoothly, it looks effortless.
That's the idea, and it's repeatable. You know, that's really the main thing. They've shown lots of different unorthodox swings, but at impact, they're all very, very similar. I had an interesting experience in that regard, and one of the things that I do, sometimes I teach warming up, that when you warm up, starting with a driver, almost everybody starts with a wedge and then works their way up, but starting with the driver, but not a full swing. Actually, I correct myself, a full swing, but not at full speed. And I got this from Freddie Couples, making a full swing, full turn, driver as far back as you usually take it, all the way through, full finish, but in slow motion so that the ball only goes about 100 yards. And what happens is, because it's in slow motion, you have a lot of awareness. It's easier to have awareness of your sequencing, of your rhythm. And you can feel what it feels like to get to the finish of your turn. You can feel how you start down and where you release, all the different release points as you go through. And once you do that and start, and you might not hit it well at the first couple of swings, but once you do that and start getting into a good sequencing rhythm, you'll see a miniature version of your ideal ball flight. Then I put it away and go back and work with the wedges and work my way back up to it. But I think you'll find that interesting. And the other day, I'm still recovering from it. I woke up with a really bad pinched nerve in my neck, but I had to go out and I had a lesson. So I was out and I took half swings only. Well, I ended up about halfway through the round, I had to hit a 130-yard shot. And I took out my 4 hybrid. And I made a half swing and it went just about the right distance. Went, oh, pretty cool. And onto the green. Oh, pretty cool. The next hole, two holes later, it was a par 3. And I said, what's the distance? And he said, 130. I went, oh, I know what to do for that. I took out my 4 hybrid and put it on. And this young man, he's in his mid-30s. He had a gap wedge 130 yards. He hits his pitching wedge 145. Ridiculous, right?
Wow.
Well, he hit his gap wedge. I hit on the green and he hit his gap wedge and he said, oh, please let me get inside Dr. Joe. And he wasn't. He had to put it first. And then on the last hole, I didn't hit my driver. I just drove up with him and he was just in the light rough. I said, how far are we? He said, 130. I went, I know what to do. I dropped the ball in the rough. He hit his gap wedge out again. I hit mine on. I said, he said, "Ooh, that looked pretty good." I said, "It was going at the target." He said, I think there's a bunker in front there. I hope it gets over it." Turns out there wasn't. We drive up over the rise. We couldn't see how it came out. Drive up over the rise, and there are two balls. At first, we only saw one ball on the green. He said, "Oh, somebody's close." And then we went further, and there was another ball.
Huh.
He said, "Oh, I can't believe it." Yeah. So 2 shots from 130, I put it inside his gap wedge with my 4 hybrid. So I'm not saying that for me. I'm saying if you swing within yourself,
Yeah.
the accuracy is so much more. It's so amazing. And then you can be consistent. And you know what? He missed his putt and I hold mine. And you know what? On the scorecard, it doesn't say anywhere what club I used to get onto the green. I couldn't find a place to write it down. Couldn't find no, couldn't find a place. Well, what do you know about that?
Interesting.
So, Marcy, how about you?
Hi, hello everybody.
You're a closer.
Hi, Marcy.
You're a closer.
Hello. Yeah, today I played actually my first tournament in this season because of the pandemic, right? And I was pretty nervous. But all I said to myself is that I just concentrate on 100% to my procedure. And all I did was really concentration to pre-shot routine, the shot and after shot routine. And I really did well. Anytime I stepped to the ball, I said just see it, feel it, trust it, do it. And that's exactly right. The visualization, I picked up the best place. Then I just tried no technical things. Joey did not say you can't. Just, okay, feel it. Oh, that's the feeling. And now I trust it. And I did it. And it was great. I played such a great golf. Just the 2 last holes, okay, that unfortunately I didn't, but that's okay. That's okay. Just I was wondering, would you have any kind of tips? I was thinking of you. I wish I had Dr. Joseph.
I'm tired. I played so much golf the last couple of days.
I was just wondering that, like the front 9, I tried really to be calm. I tried to work on my breathing, all this mindfulness, listen to the birds, all this stuff. But still, my hands were shaking by putting. And that was the front 9. The back 9 was better. Of course, then the 2 last holes, I did not play well. When that was exactly what Jenny said, the fear came to visit me. But the front 9, I was just wondering, is there anything, would you have any kind of tips against that shaking hands?
Well, you know, I would interpret it as excitement for the opportunity to play competitive golf again, rather than nervousness that I'm worried about how I'm going to do. Because it's a reaction to the juices that are flowing. You know, adrenaline and whatever other things are getting pumped out there. And, you know, you're vibrating,
Yes.
basically. You're vibrating. Now, what so really the only thing for that is the breathing and accepting that it feels that way. I have a feeling that once you got your hands on the putter, they weren't shaking with the putter in your hands so much, right? So if you did your warm up and you did your routine and practiced your putting routine on the practice green, then you know you're going to go out and you go, I know what I'm doing. I know the routine. And again, routine, not outcomes. The putting is where it sneaks in. It is not your job to put the ball in the hole.
Exactly.
You're not allowed. Exactly. You're not allowed to pick the ball up and place it in the hole. Your job is to get it started the best you can. And if you did your job.
Exactly.
And then all you can do is root for it. So that's what I would remind yourself, what's my job? Oh, I know how to do that. I just did it on the practice screen. It's move this little thing back and forth and get the ball started rolling. I can do that.
Exactly. Thank you.
Great tip.
Well, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Oh, I want to share one thing on that. I tried something, and it did work on that last hole that I was telling you about in that round. When it's the last hole, I've got about a 5-foot putt, and it's a pretty straight putt. So what I did was I put a line on the ball. I have a line on the ball. You know, they make them with lines on them now. I didn't even have to draw anything on, but I set the line that was on the ball, and I set as a goal for myself, because a 5-foot putt, speed is not really that much of an issue. You're going to make that little stroke, and it's not that much bigger than a tap in. But what I wanted to do was, my goal was stroke it so that the line stays sharp as it rolls.
Oh, yeah.
And you can practice that on the putting green, and hit your putt, and then look and see if, you know, after the putter stops, then look and see if the line stays sharp. If you can't see that far, put a indelible marker on it and, you know, make it so that you can see the line. But then if you get good at rolling that, and they call it end over end, I don't know why, there's no end to the ball, but continuous roll, and the line stays sharp, you put a very pure roll on it. So instead of the ball going in the hole, I made my goal, stroke it in the way that you're going to make the line stay sharp. And that took the outcome out of my mind, boom, and it went. So that's something fun for all of you to try.
Try that tomorrow.
So thank you all very much.
Thank you. Great.
And appreciate you all for our Zen Golf question and answer session. And we'll see you all in a couple of weeks.
Mm.
Thank you so much. Great to see everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Take care. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.